Jeff Benjamin, and this is goRIA with Jeff and Chuck. Chuck, how you doing today?
Doing real good, Jeff. How's it going over there at the DeVoe conference?
It is going fantastic. And speaking of DeVoe, I have David DeVoe with me right now. Hey, David, say hi.
Hey, how y'all doing?
All right, hey,
David,
nice to meet you.
How the conference is going before we get back to Chuck and see what he's up to today.
Man, it is so great. We thought we'd have 140, maybe 135. We had to get a bigger room. We need a bigger boat. We have 187 people, and I'll tell you, it's so wonderful. People are loving the content. People are loving the community. It's a great vibe. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. We're learning a lot. I got to tell you, I never knew David was so involved in practice management issues, and I'm getting a lot of good stories here. I've already written two. Chuck, what's going on with you?
Yeah, so I'm actually down in Philadelphia right now at the Portfolio Summits Conference, and I tell you what, it is wall-to-wall RIAs here. And, these weekly live streams, we like to talk about what's sort of top of mind, and what I can't help but think about here in the RIA space, which I've only been in for probably the past 4 years, right, is the amount of diversity that's out there and the number of different ways that one can go about doing it, right? So really there's 3 ways to go RIA. You can completely build your own from scratch, and there's a lot of great support options for doing that. You could tuck into an existing RIA, and the beauty there is you probably have 200, 300, 400, and I'm sure David would have some even better numbers on this, of different varieties, right, of RIAs that you can find a fit for and just tuck right in. And then, of course, the third way is going to be sort of building it mostly yourself, but using a back office and middle office support system like Dynasty to do pretty much everything except for the compliance. And, when you think about going independent, in contrast to like maybe the wirehouse space, right? If you want to be a wirehouse advisor, you have maybe 5 good choices. If you want to go the independent broker dealer route, you probably have a dozen. But if you want to go RIA, and that's really the beauty of this industry, is you really have 3 ways to do it, as I just mentioned, right? Build your own, tuck in, or do some sort of a hybrid in between. And if you even want to tuck in, let alone build your own, you have hundreds of choices. And I think that's the beauty of this space. I mean, there's a flavor and fit for anyone that, or any kind of desire you might need as far as tech platforms or niche marketing. And when you go to these types of summits and conferences and you're walking around and you're talking to, dozens and dozens of different RIAs, it's just a great experience, and it's just a great industry. So that's kind of what's top of mind over here. Let me kind of toss it back to you, Jeff and David. What's top of mind over at the DeVoe conference? I saw actually an article that you wrote. I think it got posted today, Jeff. And David, you mentioned something that intrigued me, which is that you want to challenge the RIAs out there to do more organic growth, but not for the purpose of growth. What did you mean by that?
Yeah. And what was the question? Want to grow, not for the purpose of growth?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so I think, half our event is focused on growth. The other half on talent, arguably the 2 most important elements related to an organization, right? And RIA specifically. So one of the things we're doing is we're just starting from scratch, and we're saying, hey, why grow? And it's an important question. We're challenging, we're being provocative and telling our people to think through, what the purpose is of growth. And that is a foundational element for the amount of change management that's going to happen in the organization. You can imagine a firm that's now committed to growth is going to have their advisors, 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or 30 different advisors that buy into this growth concept. And the difference between saying, hey, we're going to grow for growth's sake, which again, no harm, no challenge, but the engagement level from the employees with that statement versus a statement saying, hey, we help our clients sleep better at night. We help our clients have better lives. We want to bring what we do to more people in our community. Suddenly light bulbs go off. Suddenly that's like, hey, I am going to lean in. I am going to, take these risks and understand and take the time and energy to do the challenge related to growth. So that purpose is a foundational element. You need your value proposition. You need your target client profile. You also need to connect vision and values if you're going to be optimally successful in growth.
That sounds good.
Yeah, good stuff. I've been telling people here the past couple of days that I talk to David all the time. Usually it's about his quarterly and annual data on M&A activity in the RIA space. But this has been kind of a refreshing new side of David for me to see all this this stuff about practice management and recruiting and asking for referrals and marketing efforts and stuff like that. I mean, it's all a lot of good stuff that I'll be reporting on and have already reported on about basically running your practice.
Yeah, the best kept secret, I guess. You know, Barron's called me the REA M&A guru, and we focus so much on M&A, and M&A is so hot in the industry. But, you know, a core foundational element of our business is just helping these companies run better businesses, succession planning, human capital, incentive comp, growth strategies, you know, any strategic decision. We have 23 people here. They're all rock stars. We can help advisors make any strategic decision. It's a lot of fun.
Very cool. You know, Jeff was saying that to me about how much practice management you guys were focusing on at the conference. And like you were saying, you know, I was expecting the DeVoe conference would be back to back to back M&A. But it's nice that it's not just that. Yeah. So let me ask you this too. What was the big reveal, right? Was there sort of a Steve Jobs type of moment today that you just had a great piece of either data or concept that you dropped other than the growth one?
I'll tell you one really cool stat we got this morning, and I'm blanking on his name, the gentleman from Invesco. He talked about referrals.
Brett Van Bortle.
Thank you. Just like my second brain here. It's so great. So Jeff was talking about referrals, which, you know, generates 53% of new revenue for an organization. It's like a critical growth driver. 88% of advisors don't ask for client referrals. So despite it being this huge number, most advisors are not comfortable. They feel like it's an awkward discussion, and they just flat out don't do it. 88%, the vast majority of advisors. So I think that's a key thing for any of your listeners to think about and consider. You know, and so many of your listeners are probably the leaders of these organizations who are comfortable asking for referrals. You know, we want to challenge them to think through, okay, your staff, are they asking for referrals? Why not? How can you help them become more comfortable? How can you help them, you know, have a methodology to ask for those referrals in a way that's comfortable for both the client, but also the advisor themselves?
Yeah, another good stat on that from Van Bortle of 88% of advisors are not asking for referrals, but 88% of new business comes from client referrals. So they're not even asking for it, they're getting it. Imagine if they started asking for it.
Right, and that's a great point. So that's actually something that's top of mind for our firm at Sovereign as well. And I'm curious if this came up in that topic or that conversation. What we're thinking about doing to kind of grease the skids to get more referrals is to start doing client surveys, right? So first get the survey out, how are we doing, and then address the things that we may not be getting 10 out of 10s on, and then sort of step 2 or 3 would be asking for the referral. Did you guys talk about that as a concept as part of the process?
Chuck, so there's a myriad of different things we're talking about here, including that, but I can't help but jump in. It's so great to do that because you're not only getting this really valuable and powerful feedback. As a matter of fact, if you have a third party do it, you'll get even cleaner feedback. You know, you say, hey, this is going to be anonymous, etc. Either one is good, but also you'll probably have less than 10% of your clients actually fill it out. They'll receive it. You know, welcome to the world of marketing and communications. Yeah. But every client that receives that, whether they fill it out or not, knows Chuck cares about me. Chuck cares about the experience that I'm delivering. This is huge for creating greater retention of those clients, and for them proactively, much less as you say, it's a precursor for you saying, gee, if you know someone that is a good fit for us, you know, we'd be happy to take them on as a client. So I can't underscore how important that is and how rarely it's done. I think we had a slide. I think it's literally like, well, it's 1% of the bonus structure. I just had that slide up on stage. 1% of advisors have client ratings or client performance as part of it. But I think overall in the industry, less than 5% of firms are actually doing what you folks are doing.
Interesting. Well, it feels like we're on the right path with that, but I think that's a great way to start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Also, as we're speaking about this reference referrals, 88% and so forth, an alert just popped up on my screen that the story I wrote on that is now live at investmentnews.com.
Live.
Cool.
Live TV.
It's happening right now, folks.
Happening live. All right. Well, I think that's great content. And I tell you what, one of the things I love most about these live streams, especially when I'm traveling or when Jeff is traveling, is we can get just some marquee names like David DeVoe to come on and share some thoughts. off the cuff, which is great content. I really enjoy it. And I tell you what, David, maybe next time I'll come down to Tennessee as well, because I know Jeff's having a great time, and maybe we'll all grab a cigar.
I love it. Come on down.
All right.
We're doing it
That
again.
sounds good. All right. Well, I think we're going to kind of wrap it up a little bit here. And earlier I mentioned the 3 ways of going RIA. And I will tell you the first 3 podcasts that are now live on the goRIA site. We'll do a deep dive into 3 different ways of going RIA. We've got Phil Trueblood, and I love this story. Phil is an individual practitioner. So one person with 2 support staff started his own RIA from scratch. That story, that podcast is up live on goRIA right now. Then the one that dropped today, or the last week, was with Farther, which is sort of that tuck-in story. A really cool, if you will, hip young firm with a lot of great technology that's offering a tuck-in solution. And the one that I dropped yesterday was with Cheryl Penny. We all know, of course, with Dynasty. So when you have a chance, if you're listening to this, if you're thinking about going RIA, go to the Investment News website. On the upper right-hand side, you'll see a tab that says goRIA. If you go there, you will see all those podcasts that highlight the 3 different ways of going RIA and more content to come, as well as a bunch of articles, including the one that Jeff just wrote. And I think that's it. As a last reminder, find Jeff, find myself, find David DeVoe on LinkedIn, Twitter, social media. Hook up with us. We'd love to hear what you have to say. If you have any story ideas or guests that you would like to see on these live streams, just let us know. And I think from Philadelphia, from Tennessee, from Nashville, that's all we have for this week. We'll see you next time. Thanks.